Okay, so that's where the sources are. Now, how do you get it? Like, how do you go to an investor and pitch that? What does that look like? So let's say you're an investor, right? Let's say I'm you
Okay.
and I'm pitching my film to you and I want you to give me your money.
500,000.
Well, maybe more.
Okay.
Okay, but a big amount of money.
Okay.
No, let's do it differently. You pitch me. Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to just give you a hard time here. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. But do your best. All right. I know you haven't done this before,
Okay.
but just pitch me. You want to make this movie, this football movie. Let's call it Rudy just for argument, for discussion purposes. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And you want me to invest $500,000 in your $1,000,000 movie. All right.
Okay.
Pitch me.
And I don't know you.
You know me. No. Let's say, as we know, like I'm a
Okay.
friend of your dad's and I have money and I'm a high net worth individual. So you know that. We know each other. That's how you got the meeting with me.
Okay.
All right. But you got to convince me that, I should make that investment. Now,
Okay.
I'm going to give you a hard time. Okay. Just,
Okay.
I'm warning you up front. All right.
Okay.
Because this is a learning exercise. So I'm
Sure.
going to work you.
Okay.
Okay. Go ahead. Give me
All
the
right,
pitch.
Jeff. So I have a dream of making this football movie. It's about a high school football player who goes into college, works their way up, and eventually gets drafted into the NFL. And I need money to do the film. Would you be willing to invest in me and help me out?
Am I going to get the money back?
We're gonna do our best.
How?
I got a team of people. I got a writer. The script's already done. I can have you read it, and we have the budget set at $1 million, and we have a schedule set up as to where we need to be and how we're gonna do it.
Okay, you just described how you're going to make the movie. I'm asking
Okay.
you how you're going to sell the movie, who you're going to sell it
How am
to,
I gonna sell
and
it?
who you're going to sell it to, and how much you're going to get when you sell it, and will I make
Okay.
a profit?
I don't know how to sell
Okay. Eh.
it.
Let's turn it around. Okay.
Okay.
You become the You become the investor, and
Okay.
I'm the movie maker. Okay. Okay. I'm going to pitch you now. All right.
Okay.
So we can talk about this, but it's more fun to just do it. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, Micheal, thanks for meeting with me. As you know, I have a dream of making this indie feature film, and it's going to be it's a football movie, and football is the biggest sport in the United States, and there's a gigantic audience for it. And it's going to be sort of in the vein of Rudy, that really popular movie, which was one of the greatest sports movies of all time that did unbelievably well in its release. It's a great story, and it's going to be very appealing to the football audience, in addition to anybody who just likes an inspirational sports drama, which is a really big market. So we're going to make this movie for $1 million, and which is relatively low budget in the film industry, but I have a great team behind me who's actually very experienced and we're going to be delivering this great movie, and I'm going to pull in some favors, that type of thing. So we'll have a great movie. And then we're going to sell it primarily in the US market. Now, we're probably going to be talking to some of the big streaming platforms, perhaps Netflix and or Apple TV or Paramount Plus or HBO Max. One of the big streaming platforms will probably be interested in this because football is such a big theme in the United States. So we're hoping to get about $1 million out of that sale. But in addition, we're going to keep our other transactional rights, and we're going to keep our television rights because they're going to let us do that. That's the way these deals work, and I can get into details afterwards about that. So we think we're going to do about another $1 million in television and transactional video on demand, where people pay to download the movie before perhaps seeing it on Netflix. So that's just the US market. And we feel like we have a very strong potential to do it because we've got some great distribution relationships and we know what we're doing in that area. So we'll generate about $2 million in sales, which will basically be 100% return on our budget. So we'll make $1 million in profit. And then we're going to release it internationally. Now, football's not as big around the world, but the UK loves American football. Australia sort of likes it. Canada obviously loves it. So there are some big territories around the world where we think we can do another $500,000 in business just based on their interest in football movies, inspirational sports football movies. So we're pretty confident that we're going to generate $1.5 million in profit on this. And because it's a high risk investment, which we know, and we're asking you for a lot of money, we're going to put you in first position. So the way that revenue is going to work is we're going to generate this amount of money. And the first $1 million that we get back, we're going to give you, or the first we're asking you for 500,000. So the first $500,000 in revenue, we're going to actually recoup your investment in first position. So even if we don't get any other money, we're going to take you out first.
Okay.
All right. So that takes your risk down a little bit, because at the very worst scenario, even if we don't hit our sales forecast, we think that's a third of what we think we're going to do. So the first third we're going to use to recoup your investment. So because it's high risk and we want you to be in first position. And then thereafter, after you're out, we're going to give you a 10% premium on your money. So if you invest $500,000, we'll give you the first $500,000 back. Then the next $50,000 we'll give to you too, as sort of like a thank you for investing and having your money out, because your money's going to be out for 3 to 4 years. And then thereafter, we're going to do a split. We're going to give you 40% of all the rest of the revenue, and we, the producers, are going to take 60%. And we forecast on that $1.5 million. So you'll get another 40% of that $1.5 million. So for $600,000, and we'll get the difference for making the movie and doing all the work and everything. So you'll be out with $650,000 of profit on your $500,000 investment, and you'll be out on the 501st position. Plus, we're going to make it fun for you because it's a movie. So we're going to give you an executive producer credit, which you'll always have, and you can show it to your friends. And we're going to put that up on IMDb, so you can brag to everybody, hey, I was an executive producer, which you will be. We're going to invite you to set. You can come to set as many times as you want. Bring your family. One day you're going to have dinner with the stars of the movie and the director, so that'll be a special day. If you're game and you want it, you can actually be in the movie. We'll give you a cameo, or we'll give somebody in your family a cameo. Maybe your wife wants it, or maybe your children or something like that. A small piece, you're not an actor, so we don't want to ruin the movie, obviously, but you can have some fun with it. But you can have your family and friends sit. We have these stadium scenes where you can sit there and be extras, and you'll get to be seen, and you'll get to, but plus also you'll be on set. You get watch the movie being made, which is kind of fun. Super boring once you get there, you'll see. But after a couple hours, you'll say, "Hey, what am I doing here?" But you'll have a good time. Plus, you and your family, and we're gonna give you a dozen tickets to the premiere. We're gonna have a red carpet premiere screening, so you'll be an invited guest there, and as you'll be one of our high priority guests, obviously, a special priority guest. And if we do we might put this in festivals. And if we do put it in festivals and you want to come, let's say we get into Sundance or one of the big festivals, then you would be invited to attend that as well. So that's just what we call the fun stuff, just to make it, because film's a sexy business and it's fun to invest in films. And that's the fun part of being on set and potentially being in the movie and everything like that. But the core thing is the return on investment. And I think the most compelling thing about our investment is that you're going to be in first position. So would you be interested in looking at the rest of our deck?
So you said I invest $500,000. The first $500,000 that the movie makes goes directly back to me.
Correct. It pays back your investment.
Then 10% premium on top of that.
Yes.
It's $50,000. And then on top of that is 40% of
the rest of whatever the profit. Now, remember, we have to pay back the other $350,000 to make the movie. Okay. Or sorry, the other $500,000. We gave you 50. Okay. So the next 500 is going to pay back the rest of where we got the money from. But here's the good news: if we we're actually hoping to get $200,000 of a state financial credit, because we're going to shoot the movie in Oklahoma, and if we shoot it there, they actually give 30% credits, but we think with the calculation and our experience and everything like that, we'll get about 20%, 200,000. And that will reduce that will be revenue to the movie. So we won't have to pay that back. But then we only have another outstanding $300,000, which makes it quicker to get into profit.
Okay.
And you'll share 40% of the profit.
Okay. Yeah, I'm on board.
Nice. Got any other friends?
I'm sure there's a few
Okay.
people we could talk to.
Okay. Do you notice when I pitched you, we never talked about the movie.
Yeah.
I never went into the
Well,
detail.
you just talk. The biggest thing that hit me were you knew you were going to put it on streaming platforms and launch it in the U.S. where it's the biggest market for football.
And that's real, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What I just did is I told you what our distribution plan is going to look like.
Mm.
We talked about where the revenue is going to come from.
Right.
All right. I didn't talk to you. So this is the greatest mistake that filmmakers make right here is that they pitch investors on the story.
That's what I tried to do.
I spent a minute, maybe less than a minute pitching you on. I said, this is going to be like Rudy. It's going to be an inspirational sports drama and football, and people love football. That's it. It was 20 seconds.
Mhm.
Okay. That's all you needed to hear. Okay. The rest of the time, I talked to you about where the money's coming from and how much of it you're getting, because it's an investment. An investor wants to know what their ROI, their return on investment, is going to be.
Mhm.
So that was the focus of the pitch to the investors. Now, I did sweeten it afterwards, and I gave you the bells and whistles, the fun stuff, because that's what makes investing in a film more fun than, say, real estate.
Right.
Right? And it is fun. That's what makes it fun. You don't want to, that's the enticing part. All right? But if there's no return on investment, who cares what the story is?
Mhm.
I mean, an investor, yeah, they might say, oh, it's fun to be on set and everything. Like, not for 500,000, it's not fun. For maybe 5,000, I'll give you 5,000 and, can I come to set? It's like, okay, but I can't make a film for that.
Mhm.
So when you're asking for big money, you have to treat this like any other investment. If you were asking somebody to invest in, a new house build or apartment or whatever, you'd have to show them the financials.
Right.
They got to see where it's coming from, what the income stream is going to look like, what the profit, the time, the cash flow.
They don't care what it looks like.
They don't. That's the next. That they're assuming that you're going to make a good film and it's going to be sold.
Mhm.
Now you're telling them where you're getting the money and who it's being sold to. So most of the focus was the cash flow, like the revenue stream.
Well, they're businessmen. They're investing because they want to hear about
Correct.
how they're going to get their money back
Correct.
and make more.
That's correct. And that's what high net worth individuals who you're asking to invest a lot of money need to hear.
Okay.
They need to hear what the business plan is.
Mhm.
Okay. You don't need to spend 10, 15, 20 minutes talking about the story and the characters and the character arcs and all the artistic stuff. Now, maybe they will ask you that. Maybe afterwards they'll say, well, tell me more about the story. And the truth is, who cares the story? That I'm going to make a movie that's going to be, it's more about the audience.
Right.
Will the audience engage in the story?
Exactly.
Okay, but you'll answer it, because you're a passionate filmmaker, and you'll say this story's about heart. That's what the story's about. It's set in the world of football, but it's about somebody who just has such a strong desire to achieve their goals and will stop at nothing to get there, which is what Rudy is all about. Just never take no for an answer. It's about persistence and human, perseverance. And we're setting it in the world of football. And you can talk a little bit about the story if people want to hear, but you'll see for the most part, they're going to want to know what the cash flow is and the investment structure and their return on investment. And that's the pitch.
Okay.
That's what pitching to private investors
Right.
is all about. Now, the other thing you would do in that type of pitch is you would have say a 90 to 120 second, 90 second or 2-minute promo reel. So you would put together, say, clips from other movies, and you might narrate it. I can show you these afterwards. It's just to visually show sort of what the story and the idea looks like, as opposed to saying it. It's much easier. Remember,
Okay.
you're selling a film. So you want to use a film format to help you sell that. Okay. But now you haven't shot the movie yet. So you don't have any footage from your movie.
Mhm.
So you just borrow from other movies or whatever, and you maybe put some voiceover narration and, show clips from, like I'm talking short clips, 5 second, 10, and people see a clip from Rudy, a clip from, Friday Night Lights, a clip from Never Given Sunday, and all this kind of stuff. And they get the idea of what you're doing. Now, you're not selling them on those movies. You're just giving them an idea. You're depicting your idea with those movie clips.
Okay.
It's done all the time. It's called a concept reel.
Okay.
So here's the concept of what we want to do. All right. And they say, well, hey, that's Denzel Washington. Is he going to be in your movie? No, 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 no. We're just using that so that you can envision sort of what our movie's going to be like.
Okay.
That's the private finance piece,
Okay.
which is the single most important piece. And doing that pitch is the single most important thing in raising financing. You do that pitch properly, and people trust you, like any other business investment. All right, they have to trust that, one, you know what you're doing, and in your case, you don't because you've never made a film. But remember, I said I've surrounded myself with some really good filmmakers. So you're gonna say, here's the team who really know what. Because a question might come up. Hey, Michael, you're a nice guy, but you've never made a movie. How do we know you can do what you're going to say? And you're going to say, great question. What I'm really good at is I have a great vision. I've done a lot of research and homework on how this is done. But you're right, I don't have any experience. But I've surrounded myself with a great team of people who do have a ton of experience.
Okay.
And they're going to make sure, a great cinematographer, great director, great this, great that. Okay. So that covers that credibility side. All right.
Okay.
And you're going to need to do that. Then the other thing that they need to, one is, can you do what you say you're going to do? And two, are you an honest guy? Are you going to treat their money the way you treat your own money? Are you going to protect their investment? Do they like you and trust you and believe in you? And hopefully they do.
Most of the time, these are people that don't even know me, though.
They know of you. Like maybe it's friends of friends.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
You're never going to get, that's why I say it's not cold calling.
Okay.
You can't get into a cold call
Yeah.
meeting like this. All right. It's got to be, hey, can you meet with my friend Michael? Or, I know this young guy is trying to raise money for his film. And I know you're not a big film guy, but you might want to hear this pitch. He's a good guy. And I know his dad, and his dad's a good guy, and I can vouch for him.
Okay.
He's a good guy. That
Okay.
type of thing. So that's why it's networking.
And that's the majority of where the financing is going to come from?
Yes. On an indie feature film, that's the majority.
Okay.
All right. The other stuff would be fill-ins. And hopefully it would be great if you got your entire financing that way. That's the best way to get it. So go for the whole million, not, even though you're going to get a tax credit. As I said, use the tax credit not as part of your financing plan, but as part of your revenue. So now you've raised $1 million to make the movie, and you can say to your investors, the first $200,000 is coming from the state of Oklahoma because we're shooting there, and here's why we're going to get it, and this is where your first $200,000 of recoupment is going to come from.
Okay.
That's how I do it, and I think it's more realistic, more practical, more honest,
Okay.
and better for cash flow.
Mm-hmm. Well, it makes sense.
Yeah. So that, in a nutshell, is financing. Now, financing is a little bit more complicated than that, a little bit bigger deal, but that's sort of the overview of what it takes to finance an indie feature.